Okay, so we are on the last part, update data using collector for ArcGIS. We already used it before. So now, the tasks, so we're gonna reiterate again. Number one, we're going to correct the location of a graffiti call if in error and describe whether to determine the removal process. For example, because no graffiti exists, and if the call is terminated, entering the date in date terminated. And number three, enter the date in date and approve if she plans to schedule the graffiti for removal. And number four, classify and select the graffiti type for graffiti type code. And then enter an artist tag or other identifier if the graffiti and its artist can be identified. So choose the removal method and select a value of removal type code and estimate the time in minutes for removing the graffiti and enter the value in work time estimate. And now we will create a map to use in collector that displays only new graffiti calls that the supervisor must inspect and has a data entry for including the attributes. She must enter the form has drop lists for codes, graffiti type code, and removal type and code to use in selecting code values instead of typing them. And now we have the graffiti calls for collector feature class. So now this feature class does not have a certain properties set. Instead, we will learn to set the properties to enable capabilities in collector. So now we're going to create a code value domain. So for the data input or editing, attributes of feature classes that are code such as removal type code and graffiti type code must have the value restricted to unique sets of code values. So for example, removal type code must have values for only the set, paint, power wash, sandblast, and scrape, and solvent. So a lot of work to do, right? And then when querying for graffiti calls, for example, that require power washing for removal, we are certain that the criterion removal type code equals power wash will retrieve all corresponding graffiti calls. There will be no calls with different spellings of power wash, such as power wash. Furthermore, data entry and editing are simplified because instead of typing, we select code values from a job list in a data entry form. So in ArcGIS Pro, the unique code values are implemented using coded value domains. Next, we will create a coded value domain for removal type code. So now we will go to click graffiti calls, right click on this and open attribute table, and we will go to design and go to domain. We don't need this. Alright, so fields view, so domain, design, and then domain is right here. That we're gonna go is, alright, let's see, we do have a domain here, let's look. Nope, it's right here. And we will click the blank cell at the bottom of the domain name. Okay, domain name, field name. Oh, so I'm gonna close it out. Okay, I'm gonna close this out and right click on this and design and domains. Alright, so for the domains, alright, everything is here. Okay, I don't need this. I'm gonna close it out first. So I have a remove type. Remove type and text and coded value domain, and this will be default. Okay, default. So which one I'm gonna removal type there, and for removal type that I will put code paint. Cannot see. So I will have a paint and description paint. So here on the right of the domain table, for both code and description, we already typed paint and enter. We don't need a separate description for removal types because the coded value are self-descriptive. That's why we can do everything is the same. And we will type 4 codes as here. When typing solvent in the description column, do not press tab or enter. Instead, click that in the code column to enter the solvent value in the description column. So if we tap tab or enter, a new code rows opens and we must type values in it, but solvent is the last code value. So if we accidentally add the row, here we have to delete the removal type domain and re-enter it. So you have to be very careful. So I'm gonna do it just manually. Power wash. So the code and that sandblast. And then scrape. And I have solvent. Alright. Okay, finished. Then I'm gonna save it. Be very careful here, so I don't want to do anything wrong. And I on the domain tab right here, and I click the save and close the domain. So for graffitis, for the graffiti type with a G. So now we're going for graffiti attribute, create a second coded value domain. So we're gonna do is here, second is graffiti type. Okay, everything is here. So put the domain here. Alright, code. We will have other. Next is peers. And then tag. And tag with a G. And another is throw up. Alright. Click save. So now we finished everything here. Now we're going to apply a code value domain. Now we have a defined domains. We must apply them to the removal type code and graffiti type code attributes. In graffiti class, if there was another feature class that had either of the code as an attribute, there isn't in here. So we apply the corresponding domain to it as well. So in the contents pane, so we already saved it and go back to view and contents. So back in our contents pane, So for graffiti, right click on it, go to design, and then go to domain. Oh, no, not domain anymore. I already have it. Right click on it, go to design, go to fields. So click the empty cell in the intersection of the removal type row and column, select removal type, and then on the fields tab, click save. So now, I'm gonna remove type code, and here, not highlighted, remove type here, okay. Number of domain, alright, here. So, remove type. Graffiti type code will be, oh, no, it will be graffiti type. So now I'm gonna save it. So we have the domain and everything here, and we're going to rename a feature class. So if we are in a class with students with publishing to the same ArcGIS online organization account, so each feature class published must have a unique name across everybody. So we will publish the graffiti colors feature class in the exercise after this one, but first we must give a unique name. So now I think I have everything here. Let's see, Arc Catalog. I'm going to bring back the Arc Catalog view and Catalog pane. So now for our Catalog pane, our maps is here. Expand geodatabase that we have here. So graffiti calls for collector, and we substituting the name and ID more than one person, but it's it's fine. So we're gonna add this to the contents pane. Alright, so add this layer to the contents pane. We're going to publish this layer, so let me see what is unique about this layer. Graffiti type, yeah, it's already have the type here already, and everything here. So I'm gonna publish. So right now we will publish graffiti calls to the ArcGIS Online, which we publish many times. So in the contents pane, so we're gonna share a web layer. So right click on here. So I'm gonna sharing as a web layer, share as a web layer. So alright, and feature class summary, I would say up to date graffiti calls. So I'm gonna put today's date here, 2008 and 0305, and tags we will have graffiti, and that's it. So share it to everyone. Gonna analyze it, and I think there is configuration enabled to add it if you want to see in there. So that's very important, and here it didn't mention it. Here you want to enable edit so that you can see from the ArcGIS collector from your iPhone. So I have an iPhone, so I don't know for I don't know anything about for the Android system, so we will have to see. But we will get the setting option as a web layer, and now I'm gonna have to analyze it and publish. So get back to already make sure that enable editing and allow editors too, and gonna publish it. And we will allow the supervisor to edit the layer too, and then she can enter the data into the graffiti calls web layer. So now here we will In the content, we will point to the graffiti points, feature layer, and click its arrow and click view.